ईश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्यैव पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्ता स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यादेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैता गदाधर शिवासादि गौरा भक्तवृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। I will go in the light of Sattva. My spiritual master open my eyes with torchlight of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. I offer my respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. For the desires of everyone, they are full of compassion for the fallen conditioned souls. Mukund Karati Vachalam Pangum Langayate Gurunit Kapatamam Vande Shri Gurun Taranam Narayanam Namaskritta Naram Chaiva Naruttamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiriet Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. All right, Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So, we'll continue our discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 13, Dhritarashtra quits home. So, yesterday we completed till verse 11. Very beautiful. So, first section was Vidura, he returns to Hastinapur after a pilgrimage, and we saw that how with so much respect, and he was everybody felt so much affection for him and separation from him. So we saw that, and then how Yudhishthir Maharaj started speaking to him, how he was offered everything nicely, and Yudhishthir Maharaj, he inquires about his pilgrimage and all those things. So, and we heard that how he says that that devotees like him are like walking tirthas, means because they are carrying the Krishna in their heart, so they are basically the traveling holy places. And just like Srila Prabhupada's example, we all know. And how one of the verses was how Vidura was so affectionate to Pandavas that he protected them in so many ways, and especially the example given was the house of lac, that one. So because Krishna has that, Krishna is our protector, so whoever is devoted to Krishna, they also have that quality of protection to others. And even enemies, we should receive the enemies in an appropriate way when somebody comes to our home, even if they are our enemy. And we discussed about the example of how when Arjuna went during the time of Kurukshetra battle, when Arjuna went to take the 5 arrows from Duryodhan, he happily received Arjuna and gave him, and also said, whatever you want, I am ready to give. So even though they are fighting, but otherwise there is no enmity. Yeah. So, and also we can see the holy place, or we can enter the holy place through our ears, not through our eyes. That's what we discussed yesterday. Anybody would like to add anything? Anybody thought about these things during the day? All right, so let's continue from verse number 12. It's like in 12 and 13, Vidura is speaking about, what he, about his pilgrimage. So let me share my screen. All right, so somebody would like to read?
I can read, Mataji.
Mm-hmm.
इत्युक्तो धर्मराजेन सर्वं तथा समवर्णयत् यथानुभूतं क्रमशो विना युद्धकुलक्षयं Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Thus, being questioned by Maharaj Yudhishthir, Mahatma Vidur gradually described everything he had personally experienced except the news of the annihilation of the Yadu dynasty. Straightforward, Mataji.
Very straightforward, yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, why didn't, any idea why he didn't give the news of, because when Vidura was on pilgrimage at that time, Yadu dynasty left and Krishna also left. Why didn't he give that news?
Because I think he's very attached to the Pandavas. He doesn't want to disclose a distrustful, like something which will hurt the Pandavas.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, he didn't want to become the reason of conveying the bad news. Yeah. All right, so let's move on. Somebody wants to read the next 13 words.
Can I read, Mataji?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Nanva priyam durvishamaha nirnam swayam upasthitam navedyam sakaruno dukhitana drashtam kshamaha. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Yeah.
Compassionate Mahatma Vidura could not stand to see the Pandavas' distress at any time. Therefore, he did not disclose this unpalatable and unbearable incident because calamities come of their own accord. Purports by Srila Prabhupada. According to Niti Shastras, civil laws, one should not speak an unpalatable truth to cause distress to others. Distress comes upon us in its own way by the laws of nature. So one should not aggravate it by propaganda for compassionate soul like Vidura, especially in his dealings with the beloved Pandavas. It was almost impossible to disclose an unpalatable piece of news like the annihilation by the Yadu dynasty. Therefore, he purposely refrained from it. So,
yeah, you want to say something?
Yeah, the Pandavas were already like distressed. So Mahatma Vidura, whenever he received the bad news, he did not want to tell Pandavas because Mahatma Vidura did not want them bring to more distress, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. So it's the soft-heartedness of a devotee, and that actually we should be very careful about how we speak, what we speak, so that it doesn't hurt anyone. That is actually what is this Niti Shastra here speaking? Yeah, he is so soft-hearted that he cannot see the distress of Pandavas, and of course, because Pandavas, they are so attached to Krishna. So if they hear about Yadus and Vrishnis and Krishna about their leaving, they will be super distressed, right? Yeah. So let's move on. So we are getting that.
Mataji,
Mataji,
one question. I think maybe I have a disconnect, maybe because I missed the classes. So during the Kurukshetra war, right? So Maharaj Vidura, Mahatma Vidura, did he go away on pilgrimage while the war was going on, or?
Yesterday. Yeah. No. It's before the war. You know, when all this Duryodhan and company, they were doing all atrocities towards Pandavas. So Vidura actually spoke up to Dhritarashtra that you should dismiss this, your son, your evil-minded son, Duryodhan. But Dhritarashtra was so attached to Duryodhan that he couldn't. So that time when Vidura was suggesting to his brother Dhritarashtra, then Duryodhan actually blasphemed Vidura as son of a Shudrani in the assembly, and he said that he should be completely taken out of the kingdom without anything. And then Vidura himself took it as he didn't get angry or anything. He just had an opportunity to go for a pilgrimage and purify himself. Though he was a pure devotee of Krishna already, but he took it as an opportunity to go for a pilgrimage and purify himself. And it will come in 3rd canto, chapter 1.
Right. Okay, Mataji. Thank you. Can I read 14, Mataji?
And then he comes back, like after the and everything happens. I think he was on a pilgrimage for 35 years or so. So he comes back, and we will see in the next set of verses from 14 to 17, it will speak about why did he come back to Hastinapur and why did he stay there. So, and that is very reason for him, because that is the heart of a pure devotee, that like Prahlad Maharaj, so that compassion towards others. So let's see now. Even though he was blasphemed, there was no reason for him to come back, but he did, and for actually helping Dhritarashtra to come out of his blindness. Yeah, go ahead.
And Mataji, when Vidura went on pilgrimage, then only he will hear the Uddhava Gita from Uddhav?
Yes. Yes. Not from Uddhav. He will hear, okay. Krishna spoke to Uddhava, and at that time Maitreya Muni was also present there. So, because Uddhava was to go to Badrikashram Naranarayan Rishi to give his association to Naranarayan Rishi, because Krishna wanted him to do that service. And instructed Uddhava that Vidura will come and Maitreya Muni should instruct Vidura. So Vidura Gita from Maitreya Muni.
Okay, got it, Mataji. Thank you. Yeah. Okay, text 14. Kanchit kalam athavasit satkarto devat sukham brahratur jeshthasya shreyaskrit sarvesham sukha avahan. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. Thus, Mahatma Vidura, being treated just like a godly person by his kinsmen, remained there for a certain period just to rectify the mentality of his elder brother, and in this way bring happiness to all the others. Saintly persons like Vidura must be treated as well as denizens from heaven. In those days, denizens of heavenly planet used to visit homes like that of Maharaj Yudhishthira, and sometimes persons like Arjuna and others used to visit higher planets. Narada is a spaceman who can travel unrestrictedly, not only within the material universe but also in the spiritual universe. Even Narada used to visit the place of Maharaj Yudhishthira, and what to speak of other celestial demigods. It is only the spiritual culture of the people concerned that makes interplanetary travel possible, even in the present body. Maharaj Yudhishthira therefore received Vidura in the manner of reception offered to the demigods. Mahatma Vidura had already adopted the renounced order of life, and therefore he did not return to the paternal palace to enjoy some material comforts. He accepted out of his own mercy what was offered to him by Maharaj Yudhishthira. But the purpose of living in the palace was to deliver his elder brother Dhritarashtra, who was too much materially attached. Dhritarashtra lost all his state and descents in the fight with Maharaj Yudhishthira, and still, due to his sense of helplessness, he did not feel ashamed to accept the charity and hospitality of Maharaj Yudhishthira. On the part of Maharaj Yudhishthira, it was quite in order to maintain his uncle in a befitting manner, but acceptance of such magnanimous hospitality by Dhritarashtra was not at all desirable. He accepted it because he thought that there was no alternative. Vidura particularly came to enlighten Dhritarashtra and to give him a lift to the higher status of spiritual cognition. It is the duty of enlightened soul to deliver the fallen one, and Vidura came for that reason. But talks of spiritual enlightenment are so but talks of spiritual enlightenment are so refreshing that while instructing Dhritarashtra, Vidura attracted the attention of all the members of the family, and all of them took pleasure in hearing them patiently. This is the way of spiritual realization. The message should be heard attentively, and if spoken by a realized soul, it will act on the dormant heart of the conditioned soul. Wow. And by continuously hearing, one can attain the perfect stage of self-realization. Hari Bol.
Very beautiful, right?
Yep.
Yeah. You want to share something?
Yeah. So basically, Vidura is a godly person. Mataji, if I remember, Vidura is nothing but Yamaraj, right?
Yamaraj,
the other day you were saying, okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
He was in this pastime. He came to be in the Krishna's pastime. Yeah. So the reason why he came back from the pilgrimage is like pure devotee always thinks of, they are selfless, and that he wanted to make sure his brother should be enlightened because he was too much materially attached. And that's why he came. And Prabhupada in the purport, he says how Vidura came back to his palace, but he did not come back to palace to enjoy the material opulence. He was there just for his elder brother, that he wanted to elevate him, like, make him realize. And also in the beginning of the purport, Prabhupada talks that, how at that time, in that yuga, how even Yudhishthira and Arjuna were also had the powers to visit the higher planets, and they can. I mean, the interplanetary travel was possible.
Okay. So just to say the essence of it is that Vidura was respected as a very, very respectable higher planetary system resident, right? Just to, in essence, let's do that.
Right, Mataji.
Yeah.
Yeah. So one important thing here is like the hospitality. I mean, and the Maharaj Yudhishthira treated even Dhritarashtra after all this in the same way. He gave very good respect and everything, comfort and everything. And Dhritarashtra, he had no other option, but he accepted it, and he enjoyed. And the main thing is, I think, of this purport is, the main duty of a realized, spiritually realized person is to make sure to uplift the fallen people. And when these people talk, if we hear it attentively, even our heart, which is dormant, has a conditioned soul, it will also be awakened, and it will help us. So it is very important to hear very attentively when the realized people are talking.
Yeah, that verse in Canto 1, Chapter 2, that verse, Sharvanatam Swakatha Krishna Punya Sharvan Kirtana Hridyantasto Hiya Bhadrani Vidunoti Suhritsatam. That cleansing of the heart happens when we hear from these saintly personalities. And remembering Prahlad Maharaj, he said to Lord Nrsingadev that I am not interested in only my deliverance, but I want all these others conditioned souls to be delivered. I don't want to go alone. I want to go with all of them. So that is the nature of a compassionate. So what is the topmost quality of a devotee?
Par dukhe dukhi.
Daya, par dukh dukhi, and daya means mercy, compassion, that daya, right? Jiva daya. Nam Sankirtan, Nam Ruchi, Jiva Daya, Vaishnav Seva. These are the most important three things that a devotee, according to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, should, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, he speaks. Jiva Daya is the topmost quality of a devotee. And what is that daya? Is that paradukha dukhi, as Bharat Prabhu said, that we all want that daya, and real daya is for the spiritual upliftment of the living entity, because that is the ultimate well-being. No matter what you give for the external body, it's not going to be ultimately help the person. So ultimately, ultimate daya is to give Krishna, to help others to grow in Krishna consciousness. So that is what Vidura is doing here. All right, so let's move on.
Mataji, can you please tell the three ones? So Jividaya,
Yeah,
Vaishnava Seva.
Jivadaya, Nama Ruchi, Vaishnav Seva.
Thank you.
Mataji, I have a question and a confession.
Yeah.
So, Mataji, I was like chanting in the morning and there was a little mosquito, he was biting me. and
So,
I did not even know, I was scratching so much. I'm like, what happened? What happened? And it's like bit me for so long. And then I don't feel like I can do Jeev Daya at that time when I'm like bitten so many times. Like,
it will come. It will come.
but how do you he's eating you, like he's biting you, then how?
It will come. So just try to take it away. Like try to fly that away.
He won't leave and then
Cover your arms. Cover your arms. Try to fly the mosquito away. That's all. It will come gradually. You will not want to kill them for sure.
I don't have that mercy in my heart.
No, it's okay. It will come. It will come because we kind of we haven't yet developed that vision, that equal vision of seeing the soul and the super soul in other living entity. So it will come.
Yeah, Mataji, okay.
And it's just a mosquito bite. It's not that by the mosquito bite you will die.
Yeah.
Take and all we can say that, but for it's okay. It will come. It will come.
Yeah.
All right.
Mataji, if it's a scorpion, then we can hit it.
Yeah, that's what there in the seventh canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, because that's what I said, that it's not
if it's not deadly, you should bear the
it's
pain.
not life threatening. Yeah, if it is life threatening, then you should take action. That's what seventh canto say in the prayers of Prahlad Maharaj when he is speaking to Narsingadev, because Narsingadev is angry. And he's giving the example that, okay, when scorpion is killed, then the devotees are happy. So you should be happy, Narsingadev, because the demon Hiranyakashipu has been killed instead of being angry. Okay. Should we?
Mataji, one more question I have is, Yudhishthira Maharaj is asking Vidura about Yadu dynasty and everybody is okay there. So, and then how come like the news, like if the whole dynasty is like annihilated, and then how come nobody knew that over there? Like
because it's not, there was no phone, like no texting,
but there
and
is like
Dwarka is far from Hastinapur, right? It's not like, and then see in later chapters, in I think 15th, when, because we saw in the previous chapter that Arjuna went with Krishna. Arjuna went, right? With Krishna after the yajna. So then when Arjuna is not coming back and Yudhishthir Maharaj is getting anxiety, we will see in the coming up chapters. And then when Arjuna comes back and seeing his face, then Yudhishthir Maharaj understands that something like that had happened.
Okay.
I will see in the coming up mystery.
Okay. Thank you, Mataji.
Yeah. There are chapters coming up for that. All right. Somebody wants to read?
Yeah, I can read, Mataji.
Yeah, go ahead.
Abhibhrad Aryama Dandam Yathavad Agakarishu Yavad Dadhara Sudratvam Sapadvarsha Satam Yama. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. As long as Vidura played the part of Shudra, being cursed by Manduka Muni, Aryama officiated at the post of Yamaraj to punish those who committed sinful acts. Purport. Vidura, born in the womb of Shudra woman, was forbidden even to be a part of royal heritage along with his brother Dhritarashtra and Pandu. Then how could he occupy the post of preacher to instruct such learned kings and Kshatriyas as Dhritarashtra and Maharaj Yudhishthira? The first answer is that even though it is accepted that he was a Shudra by birth, because he renounced the world for spiritual enlightenment by the authority of Rishi Maitreya and was thoroughly educated by him in transcendental knowledge, he was quite competent to occupy the post of an acharya or a spiritual preceptor. According to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, anyone who is conversant in the transcendental knowledge or the science of Godhead, be he a Brahmana or a Shudra, a householder or a sannyasi, is eligible to become a spiritual master. Even in the ordinary moral codes maintained by Chanakya Pandit, the great politician and moralist, there is no harm in taking lessons from a person who may be by birth less than a Shudra. This is one part of the answer. The other is that Vidura was not actually a Shudra. He was to play the part of a so-called Shudra for 100 years, being cursed by Manduka Muni. He was the incarnation of Yamaraj, one of the 12 Mahajans on the level with such exalted personalities as Brahma, Narad, Shiva, Kapila, Bhishma, Prahlad, etc. Being a Mahajan, it is the duty of Yamaraj to preach the cult of devotion to the people of the world, as Narad, Brahma, and other Mahajans do. But Yamaraj is always busy in his plutonic kingdom punishing the doers of sinful acts. Yamaraj is deputed by the Lord to a particular planet, some hundreds of thousands of miles away from the planet of Earth, to take away the corrupt souls after death and convict them in accordance with their respective sinful activities. Thus, Yamaraj has very little time to take leave from his responsible office of punishing the wrongdoers. There are more wrongdoers than righteous men. Therefore, Yamaraj has to do more work than other demigods, who are also authorized agents of the Supreme Lord. But he wanted to preach the glories of the Lord, and therefore, by the will of the Lord, he was cursed by Manduka Muni to come into the world in the incarnation of Vidura and work very hard as a great devotee. Such a devotee is neither a Shudra nor a Brahman. He is transcendental to such divisions of mundane society. Just as the personality of Godhead assumes his incarnation as a hog, but he is neither a hog nor a Brahma. He is above all mundane creatures. The Lord and his different authorized devotees sometimes have to play the role of many lower creatures to claim the conditioned souls, but both the Lord and his pure devotees are always in the transcendental position. When Yamaraj thus incarnated himself as Vidura, his post was officiated by Aryama, one of the many sons of Kashyapa and Aditi. The Adityas are sons of Aditi, and there are 12 Adityas. Aryama is one of the 12 Adityas, and therefore it was quite possible for him to take charge of the office of the Yamaraj during his 100 years absence in the form of Vidura. The conclusion is that Vidura was never a Shudra, but was greater than the purest type of Brahmana. So here it explains that how Vidura was just playing a part of Shudra, and he was not actually a Shudra, and he was even above a Brahmana. He was one of the 12 Mahajans. And also the part where it tells that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has also mentioned that there is no harm in taking lessons from even if he's lower than Shudras. So what matters is that it could be a Shudra or a Brahman, but as if he's is eligible, if he's
he knows
has knowledge of the science of Godhead, and then he's eligible to be.
Kiba Vipra Kiba Nyasi Kebe Shune Hoy. What is that? De Krishna Tattvavit Se Guru Hoy. Means who knows the Tattva of Krishna, who understands the transcendental nature of Krishna, they can give that. They can give.
Even if it's a Shudra, even if it's a Shudra, as long as they know, and they can be the spiritual person too. And also, like the Vidura was just playing a part for 100 years, as it was just by the will of God that he was acting that, and then while his absence, Aryama was taking the responsibility of the Yamaraj duty. That's it.
Mataji, I have a question. Why? I know he is born for a maid, but his father is not a Sudra, right, Mataji? So why?
But Generally, whatever is the mother, that's what they are considered. That is what is the, whatever is the mother, mother's varna, that is what they are considered. And so
But now we see the father's side, right, Mataji?
no, it is, but yeah, now it is all topsy-turvy, everything is other way around, but it is the mother's varna that the child takes.
Oh, okay. So it was in Vedic culture, it was opposite of what
Medical,
we have now.
it's opposite of what we have now, yeah. And it is not by birth, it is by the quality. So the point of the whole purport is that, okay, even though he was born to a Shudrani, but it's not by the birth that he's a Shudra, like that verse, Kiba Vipra Kiba Nyasi, right? That verse of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Chaitanya Charitamrita. It's not by birth, it is by the quality. And we also see even the Varanashram system is not by birth, it is by the qualities of a person. So even though by birth he is born in Shudrani, born of Shudrani, but qualities are what? He is completely transcendental because he is a pure devotee. He is the one of the 12 Mahajans, and he just came. That verse is just a reason, just an instrument for him to come down to associate with Krishna. That is what Srila Prabhupada is describing in the purport. It's not that he's Shudra or anything. And from the previous purport, I just want to mention one thing. That it is mentioned that for Yudhishthir Maharaj it is appropriate to give so much respect to Dhritarashtra, but the Dhritarashtra part, it wasn't appropriate. Because they have done so much atrocities towards Pandavas, and now they are taking shelter of Pandavas. It's not appropriate at all. So in some other place, I think it was the summary of Puri Jan Prabhu, and even in the lecture, Srila Prabhupada mentions these things, that it's not appropriate. And we will see when Vidura is going to speak to Dhritarashtra now, in the coming up verses. There he is going to see as if you are a dog and you are eating the chapati given to the dog. Like that, he's going to use very harsh words. Vidura is going to use very harsh words. So, and also I'm thinking about, like, when Vidura comes back to, because he could have remained in the pilgrimage, and he could have just, enjoyed with Maitreya Muni and other saintly devotees. But he came back because of his compassion towards Vidura, and we see that for Prabhupada, he could have stayed in Vrindavan. Why did he come here? Out of his compassion for all so many fallen conditioned souls, so that he can deliver the whole world. So that is the compassion of a devotee, and that is the most wanted quality of a devotee. All right, so let's go to the next verse.
Hare Krishna Mataji, I have a question.
Yeah.
So Mataji, here it is mentioned that Vidura was like 100, he's supposed to live for 100 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is 100 earth years?
I am not sure, Prabhu, what it is. It could be the heavenly, meaning the upper planetary systems.
No, this 100 years they're talking about on Earth as Vidura role, so it has to be 100 Earth years.
Yeah, the only reason I have the confusion is because of Krishna.
Because in Dwapar, okay, he came in Dwapar Yuga, right? In Dwapar Yuga, people used to live 1,000 years. So I don't know which 100 years is. It's the demigod years or what? I don't know.
So when we say Krishna was there on the Earth planet for 125 years, right? That is around 120.
Yeah, 125. Yeah.
So that's why I'm saying, because Krishna has passed away.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, it could be. It could be just the Earth years, but I'm not sure about that. Yeah, because Krishna was
Earth years, Mataji, because otherwise, if it is Brahma years, that would be like
not Brahma.
Millions
sure. No. It's not for sure Brahma, but the demigods in the upper planet. So it's, I think 1 day is equal to 6 months or something like that is the calculation. But I think this one was the Earth years, but I am not sure.
Yeah, Mataji, if it is Earth years, then I think Vidur Mahatma was elder than Krishna, right? So Krishna
Yeah,
is
then how?
125.
Yeah.
Then how is this that he's only living for 100 years?
Yeah, I don't know, Prabhu, that calculation. If I come across, then I can share
Yeah.
with you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I was also reading Guru Maharaj's edition that summary thing comes that many of the texts of Mahabharata have been lost, right?
Hmm.
So it's very hard to see, like, make sense of Mahabharata because so much has been lost.
Yeah. All right. So should we do one more verse quickly?
Yes.
Mataji, I can read.
Yeah, go ahead.
युधिष्ठिरो लभो राज्यो दृष्ट्वा पौत्रं कुलन्धरं भ्रातृभिर्लोकपालाभैर्मुमुदे पाराया So translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Having won his kingdom and observed the birth of one grandson competent to continue the noble tradition of his family, Maharaj Yudhishthira reigned peacefully and enjoyed uncommon opulence in the cooperation with his younger brothers, who were all expert administrators to the common people. Both Maharaja Yudhishthira and Arjuna were unhappy from the beginning of the Battle of Kurukshetra. But even though they were unwilling to kill their own kinsmen in the fight, it had to be done as a matter of duty, for it was planned by the supreme will of Lord Krishna. After the battle, Maharaj Yudhishthira was unhappy over such mass killings. Practically, there was none to continue the Kuru dynasty after them, the Pandavas. The only remaining hope was the child in the womb of his daughter-in-law, Uttara, and he was also attacked by Ashwatthama. But by the grace of the Lord, the child was saved. So after the settlement of all disturbing conditions and re-establishment of the peaceful order of the state, and after seeing the surviving child Parikshit well satisfied, Maharaj Yudhishthira felt some relief as a human being, although he had very little attraction for material happiness, which is always illusory and temporary. Yeah, for the purport is the essence is like the Yudhishthira and Arjuna were not happy from the beginning, but the battle was happened with the will of the Lord Sri Krishna, so they had to do it. And initially they had it was they also had attack to the last Kuru dynasty, like Parikshit. They were trying to, Ashwatthama was trying to kill Parikshit, and the Lord Sri Krishna saved him. So after that, he was very satisfied, like, okay, he had one person to continue the dynasty, and they were all working towards peace in the, bringing peace to the kingdom. And even though he had everything, Maharaj Yudhishthira was very little attracted for material things.
Yeah,
which is always illusory.
So the whole essence and the point here is that, again, the same point comes as previously, that it was such these kings, like these saintly kings, the Rajarishis like Yudhishthira Maharaj, they are so eager that they have a proper descendant, right? So that is the essence coming from this purport and the verse. Yes?
Yes.
Yeah, all right. So, but I'm trying to find a link. Why is it saying here like that? So, in the previous verse, that Vidura appeared because of the curse, and the Aryama had temporary. So, I was trying to think of why is that verse here, because it is like, we are talking about Vidura, and all of a sudden this thing came. Okay, let's see the next one, so we will understand more. Okay, so I think we can read this one more for today, and then we will end. Yeah, I think, and this section will end here. This section is up to here is Vidura's purpose for staying in Hastinapur. Yeah, somebody wants to read? Okay, I can read actually. Evam चक्रेषु सक्तानां परमात्मानां तद् इहया अत्यक्रामद् अविज्ञातः कालः परं दुष्टरः. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Insurmountable eternal time imperceptibly overcomes those who are too much attached to family affairs and are always engrossed in their thought. Okay. Yeah, so this is actually is referring to Yudhishthira, Dhritarashtra, this verse. Insurmountable eternal time imperceptibly overcomes those who are too attached, who are too much attached to family affairs and are always engrossed in their thought. Purport: I am now happy. I have everything in order. My bank balance is quite enough. I can now give my children enough estate. I am now successful. The poor beggar sannyasis depend on God, but they come to beg from me. Therefore, I am more than the Supreme God. These are some of the thoughts. These are some of the thoughts which engross the insanely attached householders who is blind to the passing of eternal time. Our duration of life is measured and no one is able to enhance it even by a second against the scheduled time ordained by the Supreme Will. Such valuable time, especially for the human being, should be cautiously spent because even a second passed away imperceptibly cannot be replaced. Even in exchange for thousands of golden coins amassed by hard labor, every second of human life is meant for making an ultimate solution to the problems of life, that is, repetition of birth and death and revolving in the cycle of 8400,000 different species of life. The material body, which is subject to birth and death, diseases and old age, is the cause of all sufferings of the living being. Otherwise, the living being is eternal. He is never born, nor does he ever die. Foolish persons forget this problem. They do not know at all how to solve the problems of life, but become engrossed in temporary family affairs, not knowing that eternal time is passing away imperceptibly and that their measured duration of life is diminishing every second. Without any solution to the big problem, namely repetition of birth and death, disease and old age, this is called illusion. But such illusion cannot work on one who is awake in the devotional service of the Lord. Yudhishthir Maharaj and his brothers, the Pandavas, were all engaged in the service of Lord Shri Krishna, and they had very little attraction for the illusory happiness of this material world. As we have discussed previously, Maharaj Yudhishthir was fixed in service of Lord Mukunda, the Lord who can award salvation, and therefore he had no attraction even for such comforts of life as are available in the kingdom of heaven, because even the happiness obtained on the planet Brahmaloka is also temporary and illusory. Because the living being is eternal, he can be happy only in the eternal abode of kingdom of God, Parvayom, from which no one returns to this region of repeated birth and death, disease and old age. Therefore, any comfort of life or any material happiness which does not warrant an eternal life is but illusion for the eternal living being. One who understands this factually is learned, and such a learned person can sacrifice any amount of material happiness to achieve the desired goal known as Brahma Sukham, or absolute happiness. Real transcendentalists are hungry for this happiness, and as a hungry man cannot be made happy by all comforts of life minus food stuff, so the man hungry for eternal absolute happiness cannot be satisfied by any amount of material happiness. Therefore, the instruction described in this verse cannot be applied to Maharaj Yudhishthir or his brothers and mother. It was meant for persons like Dhritarashtra, for whom Vidura came, especially to impart lessons. So that is what we were thinking earlier. So the connection of this verse to the previous verses, because here it is speaking about how Yudhishthir Maharaj actually did everything in cooperation with his brothers, and very, very nicely he did that. And in the purport, Srila Prabhupada said that he was not actually engrossed in the material happiness. So basically for them, this verse doesn't apply. And this is for Dhritarashtra actually, because this section is speaking about the reason for Vidura to come and to actually help Dhritarashtra to come to senses. So this first part of the purport Srila Prabhupada is speaking about, it is coming from actually in Bhagavad Gita, divine and demoniac nature people. So such kind of verses are there, like, they just get some wealth and they disturb others to attain more and more, and they think that they have, just like Hiranyakashipu. We heard about Hiranyakashipu in 7th canto, but that is all illusion. The real wealth is getting out of the birth, death, old age, and disease, that cycle. Other than that, if we are gaining temporary things, they are going to go away. And there is no one who, if something has born, that has to die, right? So same way that material things and the body which is born, that has to die. So it is the eternal soul. So we should work toward eternal soul. And this is that Yudhishthir Maharaj and brothers, they are completely transcendental. And for them, and this part here is very nice. Real transcendentalists are hungry for this happiness, and as a hungry man cannot be made happy by all comforts of life minus foodstuff, so the man hungry for eternal absolute happiness cannot be satisfied by any amount of material happiness. So, and the point that was made is the prominent point that one moment of time we should not waste in the human form of life. We should not waste. That is one of the symptoms of bhava. When one is in the stage of bhava, very high stage after nishtha, anartha nivritti, nishtha, asakti, ruchi, and bhava, right? So that's a very high stage. In bhava, one of the symptoms is that avyarth kalatvam. They don't waste time in anything, but completely fully occupied in Krishna conscious activities. And also there is another verse in Srimad Bhagavatam, that one, Ayur Hartiva Pumsam, like just like sunrise and sunset happens, the one loses his age only for those persons who are completely engaged in devotional service and hearing. That doesn't work on them otherwise. So let me pull up that verse. So I think it is 2nd canto, 3rd chapter, verse number 17. Yeah, this is the one. Ayurharti vepum sam udayan astam chayan asau tasyarte yat shanonita uttam shalokavartaya. So if we don't hear about the uttam shaloka, the personality of Godhead, then it is just like both by rising and by setting, the sun decreases the duration of life of everyone except one who utilizes the time by discussing topics of the all good personality of Godhead. So this is, if we want to not waste our life, then this is what we should do. Hear about the Supreme Personality of Godhead, engage in the devotional services, not waste even a single moment of life, because here, if this 8.4 million of million species of lifetime, this human form of life is very rare, and that is the only way where we can that is given the highest consciousness where we can actually move towards Supreme Lord. Otherwise our condition will be this one, as this verse says, right? Insurmountable eternal time, it will act on us, and so for those people, so it will bring us different species of life instead of going back to Godhead. So yeah, just the 2 points: not wasting time, and engaging ourselves in the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yeah. All right, and then we can get salvation, that Mukunda, right? Giver of salvation. All right, something, dear devotees, 8:26. Somebody wants to share something, say something. So what are the main highlights from today's discussion?
So like
Let's go verse by verse. Let's go verse by verse so that we go in sequence. Okay. So today we started from verse number 12. So anything from 12, anybody?
I remember one from yesterday.
Yeah, go ahead.
That like everybody was very happy to see Vidur Maharaj. So if we don't get excited or happy to see any devotee, that's an aparadh.
Yeah. So this one is just that Mahatma Vidura, he is just reciprocating to the questions of Yudhishthir Maharaj, right? In 12th verse. So basically, if somebody asks, meaning so the point is that when we meet as friends, so instead of gossiping and all, we should actually ask question about Krishna. We should discuss, okay, what you have heard, what you have read, what did you think about while chanting. Those kind of things we should talk about. We should not waste our time in mundane gossiping and mundane discussions. Yeah, so that is the point in this one. And then 13th is what? So
not hurt others by our word, by our words.
Yeah, we should be very careful. We should not hurt others. Yeah. Okay. So then.
And also to convey the message, there is always a proper. I mean, God has arranged a proper. We don't have to jump and just say the news or break the news, something like that.
Yeah. Nice.
And then the Varnashram, like once.
What else? Anybody?
So, like the one's position, even if it's born in Shudra family, and it can be accepted as a guru if he's has a knowledge and coming from that.
Yeah. I think that's our in verse number 14, right? That is.
And so, like,
and 14 also says, Mataji, that the devotee quality is not being just selfish, being uplifting the others also.
Yeah.
So Jivadaya.
What did you say, Neha Mata? What did you say?
I said about like even if they are born in Shudra and not a Brahman.
Yes. That.
And then also like the one point was like Vidura accepted that it was like when he got curse from Mundaka Rishi, he accepted that as a will of Krishna.
Yeah, and also in the 14th purport, Srila Prabhupada is emphasizing on hearing with rapt attention.
Yeah.
Okay, what else?
how Vidura was so detached with the opulence, Mataji,
Yeah.
even though his goal
Yes.
was to save his brother, you know.
Ha,
So we
ha.
always need to
Detached.
sing.
So, yeah, detachment, yeah. Detachment because of attachment to the reality, because of attachment to Krishna. Attachment to Krishna and devotional services. Okay, what else? Then I think we did up to 17, right? So then, yeah, it's about this thing that the Yudhishthir Maharaj, how they were actually, Yudhishthir Maharaj was so eager how his descendant would be to rule the kingdom.
Then 17th was more not to waste time and engage
Yeah.
in the service of the Lord so that we can get the Brahma Sukha. Brahma Sukha.
And the big question, like the illusion, like how we should worry about how to get rid of this birth and death cycle.
Yeah.
Which is the biggest illusion, the disease and old age.
Yeah.
Birth, death,
So
and
that is the biggest problem we should try to find the solution for. All right. So it's 8:32 already, devotees. So thank you all very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai, Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Hari Hari Bol. Ananta.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you all very much for your association. So if you